Hey out there YouTubers, I haven't been able to YouTube in a while, and I haven't been able to talk to you guys in a while. I'm going to try to catch you up to speed over my last one. I've had a lot happen. I do mean a lot happen in the last since I guess the 24th 10/24. On 10/24, my brother called me, and he told me that he had been diagnosed with cancer, and chemo wasn't going to help. They didn't catch it soon enough. Or it appeared that way. If they didn't get rid of his infections and everything, they weren't going to be able to do anything for him. So I think that's about the time I made my last video too. Well, I kept thinking, well, certainly they'll get that infection under control, and they'll be able to get him on chemotherapy, and they'll get him the help he needs. And that didn't happen. Then the day before Thanksgiving, and that same day that he told me he had cancer, I got a ticket. And it's going to cost me $459, which, especially with the rest of the sequence of events that I'm going to be telling you about, I was not able to raise, and I have to be in court for that ticket by the end of this month. And I know the mistake I made. It would have been like a blooming snake. It would have bit me. But my mind was on my brother and his cancer. And so, I think I said in the last video, I thought it probably was cancer. He tends to blow things out of proportion. But I just had a hunch this was accurate. So, I had planned on cooking Thanksgiving dinner for him and my brother-in-law and a friend of his. And the day before Thanksgiving, he called me and said, we have to be at the VA hospice in Martinez. And that was the 24th of November. We had to be there. I believe we got there on the 24th or the 25th of November. And the doctors sat down with us and explained to us what was going on, that he wasn't a candidate for chemo or radiation because it had already metastasized. And sorry if I get kind of off and soft through this, because this is really hard. It's real fresh. It had already gone to his liver, and it was already in his spine, and they didn't foresee that it would go much more than 2 weeks. So the first week I went to see him. I didn't stay nights the first 2 weeks. Oh, and in the middle of all this, my doctors told me I have to wear oxygen. And I wouldn't wear it there because I wanted him to feel like he could call on me for help. And so he did. He called on, he let me help him. And I told him that, if he needed me to go home, I'd go home. Well, after the first week, they called and they said there had been a change in events, and he was deteriorating quickly. And so I beat it from Lodi to Martinez, and they said he was going downhill fast. Well, he didn't go, and he didn't go then, and so I felt like I needed to stay with him until he did go. So the next several days, I stayed with my brother until he did pass, and it was just awful. I watched him deteriorate from a man that walked to the door to let me in to take him to hospice, to a man that was in a wheelchair within a few days, to a man who was bedridden in a few more days, and then he just wasted away before my eyes. And that, on the 15th, he passed away. I called him, or I was there. The nurse stopped me, and she woke me up because I was in his room sleeping, and said, there's been a change. I think you would like to look and see what the change is. And he had passed. He wasn't breathing. So I stayed with him. It was a military installation. It's a military hospice. So they did the taps and the salutes, and they had even a Boy Scout group that was involved in this. And they processioned him out the front door, not the back. They used to take him out the back door. And I was given his flag and sent home with his flag. And it just seemed so strange. You know, here's my brother, and all that's left of my brother is his flag. And so it's been very hard. That's the sad side. They all the different doctors I was talking to, it was just very clear that my brother was not coming home under any circumstances. This isn't what this was about. It was about keeping him as comfortable as possible while he went. So then I guess that's the sad news. I kept myself pretty busy then Christmas, and with my brother-in-law, we went to a place called Petars, and all tried to make the best of it. And we went to Petars for Christmas for dinner, and it's a place in Livermore. And then I went home, and then I started having to sit with myself on this, and then realized that that same ticket I got a ticket, I think I mentioned it in my last video, because I was so numb the day he told me that they weren't going to be able to do anything for him. I wasn't focused, and I was driving, and I stopped with a police officer right behind me, and then I took off again and went right through a red light. So now I've got to come up with $459 to pay for that, and I have till the 30th to do it. Or if they'll give me, I don't know if they'll give me civil, if they'll give me, I forget what they call it, but where I volunteer time and I can work it off with oxygen. I don't know if they'll do that for me, but maybe they will, and I'm hoping they will. I hope they'll understand that I'm not just sitting here using this for that. And so then in the middle of all this, they had decided I needed 24/7 oxygen, at least for now, and I needed to go into pulmonary rehabilitation. And so I'm in pulmonary rehabilitation 3 times a week for 2 hours. And now there's one little thing that was real special to me. I brought my brother's things home. He was a minimalist, so there was not much to bring. And he had asked me to be sure and bring his address book with me. And so as I was going through the address book, I found this sheet. Now my brother had been, "I will not call you Morgan. You'll always be Annie to me. You'll always be my baby sister." Well, I opened up the phone book. There was a sheet he had made up for the people that was special to him. And the sheet said, Morgan Carlson, brother, and then my email address and my phone number. So he had accepted it. He just wasn't, he hadn't been willing to tell me, but then sometimes that was just him being Bill. So, let's see, what else? I can't think of anything else that's gone on. It's just been a crazy month. I'm having to get used to the new things. And I figured to start here to start letting people see me in them. So I'll start getting comfortable with it and won't hide them in my closet and not use them. I wouldn't use him there because I wanted him to be able to count on me. And the other thing he said there is he didn't realize how much I loved him. And I said, "You never gave me a chance to love you." And then he said he didn't realize how caring I was. And I said, "Well, you've kept me boxed in the who I was in my 20s, you know, my self-centeredness in my 20s, and you never gave me the chance to be nurturing towards you." And he just said, "I'm sure surprised." So I think those last few days with him were good. I think they were really good. Yeah, and I did. I literally spent 24/7 there. So, and I'm glad I did. So, I probably seem a little scattered, and I probably am a little scattered. But, you know, I know with families that sometimes it gets all messed up, but I know that for him, I needed to be there for him. It was the right thing to do. And what's more, I wanted to do it. And then on another note, for some of you guys out there that, and women too for that matter, that have been kicked out of the service, back when they were saying, if you tell us, we'll give you an honorable, but if you don't tell us, you're going to get a dishonorable discharge. Well, something told me at the time I needed to go ahead and clean it up and tell them, and I did. And it turns out that it was the right thing to do, telling them that that I was at that time gay. I wasn't identifying as transgender. They gave me an honorable discharge. That means that anybody who is relieved from the armed forces and gets an honorable discharge and does not have a felony on their record qualifies for a lot of the hospital things they have, like the burial. And the other thing it qualifies for is they're going to make sure they get it cleaned up, because now that it's okay to be in the service and be gay, they're going to get it cleaned up. It's to make darn sure I won't be kept out of hospice. This way that if my time comes through this, I'll have hospice to fall back on. To tell you why I'm worried, my mother, when she was 58, had her first bout with small cell cancer, and that's also known as oat cell carcinoma, and that's what my mother had. And they caught it soon enough to where they were able to save her for the time being, but she did not quit smoking. And she got a second bout of it 10 years later, and each month she'd say, or year she'd say, this, God gifted me with another year, God gifted me with another year. Well, my brother, about the same age group, he quit smoking. And so he had quit smoking about 58. And he had quit smoking for 5 years. Yet he had COPD too, like I do. But he got small cell cancer. And then one of the things I think might be different is, for some than others, is exercising seems to keep the oxygen going better, to where, it won't. He didn't go get any pulmonary rehabilitation. So in my brother's case, they didn't catch it quick enough. And by the time 2.5 weeks went by, it had gone completely through his bones and had hit his brain. And it was really a sad thing to see. Once again, though, I'm very glad I was there for him. I just was heartbroken, because I didn't know what to do to help him, and that was hard. That was very hard. So anyway, this isn't so much leaning towards a transgender one, but maybe it is. I have a brother that was in defiance of what I am and said it was against God, who turned around and had acknowledged my new name and had acknowledged my druthers, and he knows I haven't gotten to go all the way with it because of all these steroids. But he had me in as his brother, and I thought that was good. So that's pretty well all. I don't know what more to say on it. I guess you could just beat a horse after that. But December 15th at 6 a.m. my brother Bill passed away, and was taken out with grace, as far as I'm concerned. So it's hard, because now I have some relatives out there, but I don't even know them, So I'm pretty well on my own now. And that's scary, because I don't want to meet their same fate. But at the same time, if I eat right and I do exercises and I continue to stay away from smoking and stay away from secondhand smoke, I should do pretty good, at least for a good while. And then they put me in pulmonary rehabilitation. I have 2 hours worth of exercise a day, and they teach me how to do things differently with COPD. So I just don't want it to go into that small cell cancer. That scares me. It really does. So anyway, I'm not going to let this steal my 2013, and I'm not going to let it keep me afraid all the time. I'm going to allow myself to grieve. I think that's what I'm supposed to do. And I've tried starting to go back to church again. We'll see how it goes. I was pretty awkward going in with tubes. I didn't like that at all, but maybe a little practice, it'll get a little more comfortable for me and for them. I'm sure it's uncomfortable for them too. They seen me for 4 years with no tubes, and now here there's tubes. Poor babies, they've had a lot to adjust to at that church, I'm telling you. But anyway, now is to try to finish raising the money for that ticket, or them giving me community service, or I'll get it figured out. But I got to tell you, it's just been a frightening month. It has, or not so much frightening as just overwhelmed. I've been very overwhelmed with all this, just totally overwhelmed. So I thank you for listening, and you guys have a wonderful 2013. And I'm going to cut it short for now. Take care.